we need to see inwards when choosing your career, what actually fits your personality type. So today we're going to talk about Enneagram. So Enneagram is a system of personality typing. So there's 9 different personality types. So it maps each of these personality types with a 9-pointed diagram, which my coach gonna say more later. And it describes the patterns of how people interpret the world and manage their emotions. Sometimes you're like, how come the way I perceive this thing is really important to me doesn't seem to be a big deal to somebody else? Maybe because your personality types are different. Like, for example, maybe security to you is very important, but the other person, freedom is more important, right? It depends on your type. But before I say more, you're like, hey, Tammy is an actress and a host. Talk so much about personality type for what? She's not even a coach. Yes. Chill, people. I'm gonna invite the expert over here. So before I invite the expert, let's have a little introduction about my Enneagram coach, my expert over here. This is Xiao Qing. She is an accredited Enneagram coach who has conducted numerous Enneagram workshops and NUS, as well as for her clients and her consultants, and it helped her to assist them in discovering their personalities and of their co-workers as well. And this has enabled them to improve relationships and better at accessing career options. So let's put our hands together and welcome Xiao Qing into the webinar.
Welcome, Xiao Qing. Hi, so good to see you. So I'm actually the brain behind wanting to show the showreel of Tammy. And no matter how many times I look at that showreel, I just can't help laughing, especially the yes and the 4 years ma'am and the amma. I totally love that. We should hear that more from Tammy, right? The yes and the no.
Thank you. Can I have a little bit disclaimer about that part, right? Because it's actually a China woman with a China accent speaking Malay, so it sounds a little bit strange.
Oh.
I have a comment inside over here says, oh yeah, Wanton Mee is on Netflix. Yeah, so you see the second show is Wanton Mee. It's on Netflix if you want to go and watch. Then you can see the main cast that with you. Okay, enough about me. Let's go back to Xiao Qing. I have a question for you, Xiao Qing, okay?
Right.
I know you are a business leader in Unicorn, but you're also a Enneagram coach. So I'm curious, before I go into how you get into Enneagram, can you tell us why are we doing this session today?
Sure. Can we show some slide? I think it's easier if I do some slide to explain why we are doing that. We all know that we are now in the heightened alert phase, but nothing is going to stop us from connecting with our clients. Maybe I can have my team to be sharing the screen on why we are doing this for our friends today. And I'm very happy because I guess this is one of the few sessions that we have a breakthrough in the number of participants that joining us this afternoon. Really grateful for them taking time off their busy Saturday afternoon to be joining us today. So first of all, of course, it's a client servicing event. Like I mentioned earlier, nothing is going to stop us from connecting with all our friends and our clients out there. And in Unicorn, there are no clients, only friends. There are no colleagues, only family members. Secondly, the reason why we are holding this is that you probably hear in the news that there's a lot of retrenchment going on. People are losing their jobs. It seems to be a very gloomy career economy. But on the other hand, I think it's also at a time of opportunity. And to us as financial planning always starts with career planning. Never let your work against you, but let's find out how we can let your work and your relationship at work in the current moment work for you. And lastly, we are hiring. And for those who don't know, 90% of our consultants in Unicorn actually started from clients. So we are calling out to friends who are thinking of doing a career switch, or if you have good friends or close friends out there who are thinking of that, do refer them to us, if not referring yourself to us. So we are recruiting those who believe in succeeding through making others succeed. For us, it's a win-win formula that we believe strongly in Unicorn. In 2 sessions ago, the other of our speaker, Wissing, actually invited his client in the house to be sharing about his experience with Wissing. And we were so happy that this client was sharing about his good experiences. And on top of that, he mentioned that it's actually a partnership. He doesn't believe that it's only Unicorn helping them to gain in his investments, in his financial planning. At the same time, he feels that it's also his duty to ensure that we continue to prosper so that we can continue to look after his finances. And that's the reason why we are here today. So again, there's no clients in Unicorn, only friends. Yeah, no colleagues, only family members.
So yes, let me say hi again to all our friends over here. So don't shy, don't worry. We are all friends here. So you can come and say hi to me in the chat and then, respond to us along the way because it's meant to be an interactive webinar. And thank you so much, Xiao Qing, for telling us why we are doing this. Because a lot of people say, hey, it seems to be quite different from what Unicorn is doing there. So why do this webinar? Which is very important because a lot of people think, hey, I want to join something, I want to learn, but I don't want to, step into the trap that was planted for me. So don't worry, everybody. This is over here because, like Xiao Qing mentioned, we want to bring more value to you as well. And of course, this one today we're going to talk about Enneagram. So let's talk about Enneagram. How did you get in touch with Enneagram then?
Right. I got in touch with Enneagram about 2 years ago. That was probably the most difficult moments that I had with Unicorn. Now that I'm in my 6 years with Unicorn, my starting point wasn't that tough. It wasn't difficult for me to be recruiting clients, to be getting friends to trust me. I guess that's because of the good karma that I had in my past life before joining Unicorn, which was great. The challenge starts to come in when I was leading a team. And I realized that leadership was not as easy as what I was thinking. In the past, in my corporate world, I was also leading a sales team. And I was able to achieve my KPIs the day that I left my ex-company. My team drew me a big farewell card. They even bought me a Chanel earring. So I thought that I should be not bad as a leader. But only when I come to Unicorn, I realized that in 1 year alone, I was actually losing 3 consultants. That was the time when I was really reflecting. And there was this consultant in particular, I felt totally challenged at managing his emotion, about the way that he was behaving. He was, to me, always negative, always telling me that if his asset were to deplete until a certain level, he's going to resign. And of course, that was what happened. He did left us after a while. And after attending Enneagram, I realized that it wasn't his fault. What was more important was how do I grow myself as a leader to be able to connect to him in the way that will motivate him, in the way that will enable him to get out of his comfort zone and have a breakthrough in his mindset. So that was how I got help from Enneagram and start to realize that I'm seeing the world that I am today because of who I am. And if I were to widen my horizon, I can actually be looking at the world in a very different perspective. Like the exercise that Tammy just did with us, is it a duck, is it a rabbit? In fact, it's giving us a better wisdom in managing the people around us. So that was the reason why I got in touch with Enneagram. And of course, with this skill set, I did spend thousands in this course because I thought it was helpful for myself, helpful for my friends, for my clients, even relationship at home, as well as for my consultant. And I think it's a waste if I just keep this to myself, and that's the reason why I wanted to share with friends today.
Yes, and because you went through this as an Enneagram coach, so we get to pick your brains. So
yes,
yay!
bring it on.
We're not gonna spend thousands of dollars. We're just gonna ask you. So Xiao Qing, can you briefly share with us the 9 types of personality in Enneagram?
My pleasure. I'm just going to do it very quick. Yes, these are the 9 different personality types. And Tammy, I have a good news and a bad news to share with you. Which do you want me to go first?
Bad news lah.
Okay, bad news is that you can't change your core personality type. So if you did a test and then you found that, oh, actually you're someone who's a challenger and you totally didn't like that, I'm sorry, but you can't really change your core personality type. But if you look through this 9 personality type, you also realize that, hey, there are some things here that I can quite relate to. Am I really an 8 or am I a 3? What exactly am I? So the good news is that although you can't change your core personality type, because that's the way that you look at the worldview, that's also the way that in the autopilot mode, when you're totally comfortable with yourself, that's how you'll be thinking and making certain decisions. The good news is that you can actually move across all the different 9 Enneagram types to be adopting the positive traits of each of them. So the whole idea is really to increase in your self-mastery so that you can really become an all-rounder and not just being brown. They're not talking about being brown here. I know that with COVID, a lot of people are eating more, exercising more. We want you to be all-rounded in your personality, not becoming round in your figure. Right. So let me go through each of them very quickly using some famous celebrity as an illustration so that it's very easy for you to pick up. what each of them is really about. And I guess by the end of it, probably you will have some clues or hints to which you belong to. Okay, so let's start with type 1, the perfectionist. So Elon Musk is a perfectionist. If you look at the quote that he says here, I have OCD on product-related issues. I only see what's wrong, I never see what's right. It's not a recipe for happiness. So typically, the perfectionist does have an OCD. They are the type who is always progressing to perfect something. If you are working under someone who is a perfectionist, and out of the 10 tasks that you're given, maybe you've done 9 really well, but you still look at the one that you didn't do well. Yeah, so does that ring a bell to some of you who is working under such a boss? I did have the experience before. I can tell you it's not easy, but when they outgrow this need to be perfectionist, they are actually the best person to be helping you to improve. And they can be great mentor because they're always willing to teach, always willing to share. So that's type 1. And the reason why I chose black and white is because in their worldview, there's only black or white. There is no in between. There is no gray. So they are very strict with their principles, with what they believe in. So they are definitely a no-nonsense person. And I'm glad that our head of investment is actually a type 1. So you can be very sure that if you have your investment portfolio being managed by a type 1, it can always be close to a perfect portfolio that won't allow you to lose money.
Also, right? Wait, type 1.
Yes. Now you realize.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to type 2. Type 2, they are the helper. So if you look at Mother Teresa, intense love does not measure, it just gives. So they are the perpetual giver, the provider, and they never look at, they don't care about how much they are giving, they don't care about the returns that they are going to take back, but all they care about is loving, caring, nurturing the person next to you. And in a crowd, they are always the one who is one of the most popular people that you see, because anytime you ask for a volunteer, they'll be the first one to volunteer their help. Yeah, so they are usually the most popular people in the group. So if you are a teacher, do try to ask for the right people to help. So if you ask for the wrong personality type to help, chances are you could get rejected.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So typical jobs that they are in could be social worker, teaching. So they are always in a role that's always giving. Yeah. Okay, and type 3, let's move to the next one. The achiever, look at the handsome, good-looking Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Yes, I disagree with people who think you learn more from getting beat up than you do from winning. The keyword here is winning. So if I can picture you, someone in the workplace who is an achiever, they are the one who is the go-getter, who is the one who is always getting things done. They are the very efficient worker who is there to make things happen for you. And if you give them a goal, chances are they are going to achieve that with not much problem. So that's the best person that you need in your team. Otherwise, nothing gets done. So that's the achiever for you. And let's move to the 4th one, the individualist. So this one you can just refer to the picture. They are usually someone who needs to be different. There's this need to be special. They are usually the way that they dress, whether it's the hair color, whether it's some earrings, some specs. They are the type who needs to be different. So let's say if they buy a new shirt and then on the street they realize that this another person is wearing the same shirt as them, chances are they are not going to wear the same shirt again. So that's how they function. So if you have a friend who is an individualist, you probably need to think about bringing them to a romantic place for birthday celebration, if that is the person that you are going after. And typical occupation that they are in is usually in the showreel, in the celebrity arena. Yes, so is Tammy a type 4? We shan't tell you now. She's going to appear in one of our episodes whereby she's also going to be under the limelight for us to be dissecting her personality. So watch out for that. Right. So in the celebrity scene, they are usually what you call the prima donna. If they are in a good mood, I think they can really perform. They'll be at their best. But there are days where they feel that they are in a bad mood. That's when they have their mood swing, and they may not even want to appear on screen. So that's type 4 for you. And then next, let's move to a type 5, the observer. So we have Bill Gates here. power comes from not from knowledge kept, but from knowledge shared. So one word appeared twice in this sentence, and that word is knowledge. So a type 5, they are typically the people who will sit at the side, they will be observing. They are not the first few who will be speaking, but to them, knowledge is their world. So they are always on the path to be getting more knowledge, more information to create something. And that can be really seen from someone like a Bill Gates. So let's say if you are in a classroom setting or you are in the role of a trainer, never ever pick a type 5 to be answering the first question, because they need a lot of time to be thinking. And if you put them off guard, they can get really uncomfortable. So that's who a type 5 is, right? And then next we have type 6. Yes, that's the loyalist, Mel Gibson. In the last episode, we were interviewing our type 6 business leader who has only 2 jobs in his entire career. He could stay on to the same job forever. He could stick to the same brand of laptop, the same brand of whatever he's using, because of the loyalty within him. So type 6, they have a need for security. So if you are working with a type 6 in your team, there's a need to plan out many different scenarios to ensure that the project goes into fruition. And that's typically how you can give him assurance and confidence in the success of that project. Next, we have type 7, the enthusiast. Jim Carrey, if you notice the energy that he brings to him, is always about laughter, is always about humor, and his focus is to forget the pain of life, forget the pain, not the pain, reduce it, and laugh. So that's how he was starring in a lot of comedy. He's always bringing laughter. Type 7, they are always the happy-go-lucky. They are also one of the few very joyful people that you meet, that you could instantly take a liking to them. They are usually those with positive energy, very enthusiastic as well, and they have this need to avoid the pain. Yeah, so that's a type 7. They are especially good with jobs that doesn't require them to be in a 9 to 6 kind of work environment. They need to be creative. They need to be in an environment that promotes creativity. So marketing role, sales role is especially good for the enthusiasts. Then we have next, we have type 8. Someone who is always has a very strong place in my heart. Our late father, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. So if you read this statement, you will know what a type 8 is like. Even from my sick bed, if you are going to lower me into the grave and I feel something is wrong, I will get up. So that's what a type 8 is. They protect, they guard you, and they really protect the people around them. They are typically in a boss position, and the one word to describe them will really be the guardian. So they are also the type who is not afraid to be angry. They won't hesitate to be the bad guy in the team. So usually in an organization, they play the leadership role. The boss who make quick decisions, they are decisive, and they make things happen quickly. Another no-nonsense person. So if you tell them something and you try to smoke them through, I think chances are they are going to give you a slap who. Right? So that's a type 8. And finally, type 9, the peacemaker. So for a peacemaker, in their worldview, is always about preserving harmony. It's always about world peace. So Oprah Winfrey, she clearly has a traits of an achiever, the perfectionist, and the enthusiast. But when you look at what truly motivates her, is actually creating peace in our world. So what I'm trying to say is that the type 9, we call them the crown of the Enneagram. They are also the type who is able to relate to all the 9 different personality types the most, because they are so flexible, so fluid like water. They can relate to almost anyone. But what truly motivates them to do certain things is actually about peace and preserving harmony. And that's the reason, even though she's very successful, she's a singer, she's in the celebrity world, she has that joy within her, but her focus has never ever for 1 minute been for money. So that's the peacemaker.